Mark Rogers TV, trying to get to as many bowl games as I possibly can before they kick off. And our latest little preview is with Kelly Rippin from WZTV Fox 17 in Nashville. Kelly, thanks so much for jumping on board with us again.
Absolutely.
So how was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. I worked Christmas Day morning and then flew home to Pittsburgh, hung out with family for a couple of days, and then, thanks to Winter Storm Goliath, had to drive back from Pittsburgh to Nashville, which is a lovely 9-hour drive through West Virginia and Ohio. Coincidentally, all places that I've worked in TV news. But no, it was nice. It was good to get home, and it's been very mild here, and I think just about everywhere else. So it was kind of nice to enjoy a Christmas without worrying about travel until it really kind of hit me in the face.
Yeah, I know two different people that had to either drive to Nashville or drive back from Nashville, either to Ohio or Connecticut or somewhere up north, and the driving situation wasn't the best over the last week in terms of just running into like monsoon kind of conditions constantly.
It's been pouring just about everywhere I've been, at least. So Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nashville for the last, I want to say, week and a half. And thankfully, when I got in the car to come back from Pittsburgh, I hit no rain. It just, the damage had been done. All the flights had been messed up. So, you know, it happens, but I have a little dog, so she flies with me, and we decided we didn't need to get stuck in Chicago with no way to get home. So I just sucked it up, drove.
And she travels well?
Oh yeah. She's about 15 pounds. She falls asleep and I don't hear from her for about 8 hours. And then she kind of looks at me like, all right, I'm done with this. About when I started to decide I was done with it too.
You know, before we talk some Penn State, Kelly, I'm going to pick on the Steelers just a little bit because you played the Ravens last week. Shouldn't have lost that game. And now the playoffs are really up in the air.
Really up in the air. I'll be honest, I've kind of, and I haven't written them off. I knew, but you kind of have to think about it. Since when would a 10-6 team not even come close to making the playoffs, which is interesting about the league this year? But no, I mean, they played terrible on Sunday. I was actually watching that game at home with my entire Italian Pittsburgh family. So you can imagine it was loud. It was a lot of cursing, and the necessary alcohol was provided, but it was painful. It was painful to watch. They just blew it in that second half. And Ryan Mallett's been there for what, 12 days? And we lost. I don't know. There were some interesting calls, and I've kind of just given up playoff hopes because I come from the team of, hey, they should have written their own destiny on this one. I don't want to rely on the Jets and Buffalo and us against Johnny Manziel, which is a little vomit-inducing. Sorry to the Cleveland Browns fans out there, but the fact that I have to even worry about Johnny Manziel makes me a little mad. Is he playing? Is that happening? Do we know?
He's probably not playing. I don't know if there's been a definite decision made, but okay. You know that being from Ohio, you've got like a 50% chance of just insulting me.
I know. Well, there's a lot of different ways I could go with that, but yeah, no,
And you hit the 50%. No, I'm not insulted. Johnny Manziel's a clown. I got it. That's pretty obvious, but I am a long-suffering Browns fan.
You know what? You guys are dedicated. They say that a man's football team says a lot about him. You guys are a dedicated bunch, and I understand your pain. I don't have to really go through it very often, but I definitely support people who stick with their team. So hats off.
Yeah, it's one thing to have grown up around it, but I'm raising a son, and it's kind of strange because he's never lived in Ohio, and he is like a diehard Browns fan.
That's awesome, though.
Of course, the games aren't even on here. Who's going to show the Browns games unless they're playing the Patriots?
Right.
But he's locked in on the computer screen, following the the scoring updates and the play-by-play when he could be watching decent teams play. But just wanted to get your take on the Steelers there. We'll talk some Penn State football here. Of course, they've got a January 2nd bowl game against Georgia, so it's one of those Big Ten SEC matchups that I really love.
Yep.
And so. Bowl games, some people kind of throw them away as exhibition games. For other people, they're important because obviously it's a day to show your brand. And when you think about it, for me, I don't understand the whole motivation argument, because this is the one time, whether it's Penn State, regardless of how big the program is, they've got the college football stage to themselves for that 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I probably kind of float back and forth, as you mentioned, between the like, this game means everything, or this is just a throwaway game, depending on what bowl we're in. I think anytime we get to go up against an SEC team, it's, as you mentioned, a stage. I mean, this is the Big Ten SEC battle is one that I've only really learned to understand since moving into the South. But it's still a fight. It's that tally, like who's got the most bowl wins, who goes to the most appearances, who's got this, who's got that, who's the more dominant conference. So I think for Penn State fans, especially getting back into the bowl eligibility is just exciting in and of itself. So I would like to really see them deliver. And I think they have something to prove. This season was up and down. I mean, we'd have a great game, we'd have a terrible game, the coaching was questioned and all that stuff. So I really think this is an opportunity for Penn State to say, okay, fans, we know that this wasn't a great season. We're going to put our heart into this right now and hopefully come away with a win, although I haven't quite decided where I stand on that yet.
I picked Penn State to win, and I went on record. I wrote an article. Okay. It's out there on Saturday Blitz. They're a 6.5-point underdog, so I'm putting my neck on the line to actually not just cover the spread, but win the game outright on the field. Okay. Penn State's going to pull off the upset.
Well, I think we have a benefit. Nick Chubb, obviously not playing, will certainly put Georgia at a deficit. I watched him play actually at Vandy, and he really is unstoppable. And so I think that will be a benefit, which I kind of hate saying. I don't ever want to win against somebody's, beat up team. However, that didn't happen with the Steelers and the Ravens, but I digress. So, and their coaching staff being pretty much in flux right now will definitely play a factor too. But I'm hoping, I really do hope that they can pull this off. I've seen a couple of different people pulling for Penn State thinking they'll be able to make this happen, but I don't know. Got to move the ball.
Penn State's almost kind of in the Big Ten right now, that line of demarcation of the good teams are above them and the bad teams are below them. They beat all the bad teams.
Yep.
They lost to all the good teams. If you really look at it, I saw a stat the other day. They went 0-5 against the ranked teams, and they went 7-5. So it makes a lot of sense. So I'm thinking, I don't want to lead you down a path, but that these last few seasons have been just kind of like whatever you can get. We appreciate the Bill O'Brien era going into James Franklin, and we enjoy the winning and whatever that is. But starting next season, the expectations may be ratcheted up a little bit.
I think absolutely 100%, because now, yes, we've survived the scandal. We've survived the coaching after the scandal, the sanctions, all of that. And I think now it's time, Franklin has had an opportunity to recruit and to make his mark. Yes, he's still got some of Bill O'Brien's players, but I think now it's going to be, okay, this is your team, craft it, show us what this kind of football mind crazed, I don't know, I can't quite figure him out yet, but he talks a lot and he walks the walk, but I haven't figured out if he can deliver on the other end of it. So I definitely think this year will make a very big impact on what happens going forward. I mean, Penn State's not in the business of having coaches. We're not a coaching factory. We're so used to having a single coach for how many years? So I think it will be very interesting to see what happens and what the athletic department would decide to do after that. I mean, I know the offense coordinator, Donovan, is gone. So I don't know if he was the problem. It worked. That's kind of the weird thing, again, about being down here, and I've talked to you about this before, the Donovan-Franklin matchup worked down here. They turned Vanderbilt into a football team, a talked about football team. Why didn't it work at Penn State? What was the difference? What was the factor that changed? I mean, obviously you've got players and different coaches on the game board, but it'll be this year, I think will have to kind of be his defining year as we see coaches go in and out so much faster. Mark Richt went out for a 9-4 season. Is that what Georgia ended up with? So
9-3, not yet 9-4 if they lose this one. So I think you've made this a kind of Freudian prediction.
Myself, yeah.
Well done.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for me, James Franklin, I think it's amazing what he did at Vandy. That speaks for itself. He's gone to Penn State. The recruiting's been exceptional. He's going to make his mark by turning those recruits and developing developing them as players and then proving on game day that he can outcoach Jim Harbaugh and Urban Meyer and et cetera. He's not really known for that. He's known as the guy that brings in the hip guy that can bring in the recruits and connect with them and build a community there. But to outcoach those guys on game day and develop the players past.
When he joined the Big Ten, Meyer wasn't there yet, and neither was Harbaugh. So I think he probably came in as kind of the big man in the Big Ten, and then all of a sudden became kind of the little brother. Like, hey, you've got these two coaches that, you know, more than two coaches in the Big Ten, but those two big names that really have show-stopping capabilities as far as coaching goes. But it will be interesting to see what happens this year. I agree, though. I think there's a lot of weight on it, and I would imagine he's starting to feel that too.
So, Kelly, I'm guessing that this particular bowl game doesn't exactly bring about the type of festivity of a huge bowl gathering or party.
You know what?
It's probably a little subdued.
The Penn State Nashville Alumni Association is doing a game watch, and it's a great group of people. I think I might have mentioned it before. It's so much fun, and that honestly is one of the reasons I love Penn State so much. Is I showed up at a bar, saw it online, it says, all right, everyone watches I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be like 12 people. No. They have the whole back end of this bar rented out. They have blow-up Nittany Lions. They have a DJ area where they're playing like Zombie Nation and the chants, and they have prizes that they give away. I mean, it's a huge production, and they're doing that again for the bowl game. So my parents are coming into town. Neither one of them went to Penn State. You would think that they did from as much as they love it. So we'll probably head over there and watch the game at least for a little while.
You know, Kelly, I've got to say that I'm starting to be a believer because I know a lot of Penn State people that work at ESPN with me, and I know there's always a camaraderie if you graduated and are alum from any particular university, but I also do a little show with another person, and yeah, they've really sold me on it's different at Penn State. We really connect with each other, support each other. If there's a Penn State person out there, we really there's something there.
I mean, it's what my parents, my sister went to Penn State. She didn't want to, had no desire to go to Penn State, but she wanted to go to a college that my parents were like, no, this is ridiculous. You're just going there because your friends are going there kind of thing. And so she went to Penn State. She ended up getting married there. Her kids want to go there. I ended up going there, and my brother went to Cornell. He's the genius of the family. And my mom says if she could, she would send every child she had to Penn State just because of, I don't know, they give you a good life preparation, I feel like. So I'll take it. I mean, it's fun. I had an intern this year who was from Penn State, and I know I'm not that much older, but it was still fun to have someone under my wing going, here's what's going on, here's what's happening. And instantly she and I had a connection a little bit beyond just, hey, we went to the same school. It was really like, hey, we went to the same school, and here's what you learned, and here's what I learned. And everyone kind of watches out for each other. So
that's good stuff. Kelly Rippin from WZTV there in Nashville, Fox 17. And I know, Kelly, you come on here because it's a great career move. It gains you a ton of influence and pub out there. So I know you're doing this for selfish reasons. No, obviously there's no reason for you to come on here. So I appreciate you.
Oh, no. Anytime I can talk football. I went to the Music City Bowl last night. I shouldn't have, but yeah, I went for a little while. I didn't stay for the end because my bedtime is, 8 o'clock at night. But it was fun just to go down. I wanted to check it out. I was so hoping Penn State was going to be in the Music City Bowl, but it didn't work out that way, and that's all right. Maybe next year. But it was fun. It was a great atmosphere. A lot of Louisville fans. Obviously, Louisville is only about 2.5 hours away from Nashville, so it was mostly a red fan base. But it was fun. It was a good atmosphere.
Looked a little chilly out there.
It's getting colder. Yeah, I was pretty bundled up. It's, I've become such a Southerner. 42, 45, I'm bundled up, whereas, 4 years ago, I would have been walking out without a coat on. So it's definitely chilly for the South, but it wasn't too terrible. It wasn't raining, so people were happy about that.
I spent 6 years in Mississippi, so I can relate. My blood thinned.
It happens very quickly.
All right, Kelly Rippin from Fox 17 in Nashville. Kelly, appreciate it. And do you say go Penn State, go State, go Lions? What's the chance?
Let's Go State or We Are, and then the Penn State chant,
Okay.
obviously. But even that sometimes gets a little awkward if the person doesn't know what you're talking about. So yeah, Let's Go State is usually it.
All right, Kelly. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
We'll talk to you later.